This is the Toward a New World podcast with your host, Corinna Stoffel. As a space for all things regarding the global, collective transition we are in, we have conversations about transition, separation, and connection regarding oneself, others, and the earth. The aim is to educate, empower, and inspire. Welcome back. Another Thursday, another podcast episode. What I plan on talking about today is being aware about the consequences of our actions. I know I grew up being told over and over again, your actions have consequences. And what was basically imparted to me was, you are the one who has to deal with the consequences, which is absolutely correct. No discussion about that part. But what about keeping in mind that the consequences of an action actually impact another person? And maybe not just that one person, but the people that that person is connected to, that surround that person. And what if those that impact is not necessarily an easy one, a gentle one, a positive one? Are we clear on why we're doing what we're doing? There are people that want to take revenge nowadays, and I will get into one aspect later on. And there is also, on the other hand, people that want to truly help. Like a few weeks ago, I read an article about a man who saw that a man was leading a young girl, teenager maybe, away from a bus stop. And the girl seemed to not feel quite comfortable, but also didn't fight the other person. So he stepped in and with a ruse took her into a store next door. And it turned out that the girl would have been kidnapped. So, impact of the consequences of an action can go either way. Which ones do you want to create? There is also another aspect. It's not just person to person, but what about person and environment? I have seen it when hiking, and I don't know if this is recently the same case, but I've seen people cut across switchbacks and basically create a new trail without them necessarily intending to. They think, oh, it's just me. I'm cutting those people off. They're too slow. I want to get up there faster. But it is amazing how visible even a faint trail is. And then there are other people who follow. And eventually it becomes an additional trail which destabilizes the soil there. Is that something you want to create? I have seen pictures of a beach on Sunday evening, and it's one big trash pile. Is that something we need to create with the environment? We talk about climate change, but from my perspective, climate change should be more aptly called destruction of the environment. And the beach being a trash heap, that is destruction of the environment. What would it take for me to pack out my stuff instead of leaving it there? And then we read about, animals dying because a little bit to pounds of plastic is found in their stomach. They don't know necessarily the difference. They see it floating. The way it floats, it could be food. Grab it. And I remember seeing on Sunday evening as I was hiking in a local park, there was a fox dashing across the parking lot with a steak still in its styrofoam tray and wrapped in plastic. That's not food, appropriate food for the fox. How much of the plastic and the styrofoam is the fox going to ingest? What if we look a little bit deeper and say, okay, what can I do to help and appreciate the environment? There's also the other thing, and I just read that at the beginning of this week, that buffalo in Yellowstone pinned down a visitor. And it's amazing how many incidences I've read about buffalo people in Yellowstone just this year. And I've observed behavior that I was just shaking my head. It's running out of the bus, running towards an elk or a bison, and almost like I want to pet that animal. They're not pets. How far are we removed from having an appropriate relationship with nature? And then there is not just our relationship with nature. The new kid on the block in technology is AI, relatively recent. And I hear a lot of people talk about, oh, don't be afraid about using AI. No. I mean, I'm surprised how good AI can be. And the quality of it also depends on the programming and the input, how much information is provided from which AI can draw. And there's also the flip side. With a small segment of voice, you can create a video and make somebody say things they never said. How do you disprove that that wasn't you? It's the video. I mean, it's clear. So there are the possibilities to abuse technology. And I don't want to necessarily put malice into everybody's basket personality, but some people are just having fun, and then the fun gets out of hand. There is no malicious intention, but it happens. So do I want to play with something in a way that is not positive, that does not create a positive outcome? And by and large, I am keenly aware that people are caring, kind, helpful. And I'm also aware that there are some bad apples that spoil the barrel, you know? So why are we choosing to do what we do? Are we willing to get clear on our motivation about it? No need to be afraid. And are we willing to consider consequences of actions? Are we willing to stay on top? You know, when AI came out, because that was the last one I talked about, it wasn't that sophisticated, but it has become more and more sophisticated. It has become able to do more and more. And are we willing to consider all those possibilities? And how do you prove one thing over another? Is it my intention to destroy other people's lives by fooling around with something? Just some food for thought for today. Let me know what you think. I would love to hear from you. Leave a comment. And also, if you choose to, let me know what you would like me to talk about. Because, as I say in the intro, the world is changing. AI shows that. 10 years ago, there wasn't much of AI in the general public. I mean, if I look at my life, how much technology has impacted it. I remember those big audio recording, and then it got smaller and smaller. And when the Walkman came around, I thought, oh, this is going to be it. Yeah. Then came the CD. And then came the download on your computer and transferred to a listening device. So things are changing faster and faster. What took generations for our ancestors happens within one generation today. Let's think about things and check into what and how can this be used. So I will see you next week. Take care.